What's up, everybody, and welcome to Week 4 DFS and Fantasy Football Outlook. How's it going, fellas?
Let's get it.
Another week. Yeah, I know, right? We back again. So it's good. Thankful to be here. So, what any games you are looking forward to before we get into the main slate we talk about tomorrow? Anything that you like? Maybe not for DFS purposes, but just kind of like football in general.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see how my Saints do against Atlanta because we came out hot and then kind of looked like the normal Saints against the Eagles. And now I'm like, are we just mediocre or is Eagles defense just pretty solid? I want to see us how we play against Atlanta in Atlanta, division rival.
Of course, as a Jags fan, I guess it's already in the lineup that we're going to talk about today, and I think Cody the same. That's the sort of the one I'm looking forward to from a football standpoint, and just trying to see if this team, my fantasy team, can turn the tide a little bit. We took a little bit of a L last week, trying to turn the tide, see if these changes can make a difference.
I mean, I had 3 people that come up with the big O out next to their name. In the fantasy football, myself in one league, it was Devontae Adams popped out. So luckily went and swapped out, grabbed Jacoby off of waivers, slapped in Jacoby Myers. And then in our 14-man league, Devontae Smith out. So luckily had Jacoby Myers on the bench and put him in. So it's we're getting to that point where I feel like this season we're going to see a whole hell. I mean, I literally saw a tweet that the tight end position is a hellscape right now. Like in fantasy football, it's just awful. Like everybody's just, and Evan Ingram, of course, I had him in another league too, and he's just been non-existent. You know, it's just football is just weird right now with injuries, and it's just scattered all over the place. So.
As I always say, each week though, if you're down, you know, sometimes you can make some differences by just changing the defense, looking at to see if you have a better matchup, maybe adjusting your kicker position, you know, little small things that maybe not change the core of your team, but you know, can make the difference if you can catch a defense that goes off that week. That could be the difference between winning and losing these games, especially in the 14-person league. It's hard to find, you know, things from a waiver wire perspective to really sort of change your team. I guess at this point you are sort of hoping maybe a trade can go off, because outside of that, it's really hard to kind of maneuver from a roster perspective.
The running backs are just as bad especially in these deeper leagues like that. And I mean, I'm literally have like elite running back and Saquon Barkley, top tier, and then Chase Brown, who is actually a number 2 on the Bengals. It's either I'm going to run a number 2 from the Bengals or a number 2 from the Patriots. So you gotta pick your poison. Like, do you want to like suffer there because you're not finding anything on the waiver wire when you got guys that are just hoarding running backs for fun at this point. So it's been a difficult season so far, to say the least. But yeah, I guess we can just start off, I guess, with the B Kill and the Cody Bowl right here. This is I feel like this is a bit weird because I feel like week 4 is a little late to have had at least the first meeting between the Jags and the Texans. Maybe
they usually play a little bit earlier. Sometimes at the
week 1 usually.
Season, yeah. For some reason,
we got the Colts first.
Schedule makers usually do it up like that.
Yeah. I know Phil don't like this game at all. I mean, I know.
I like it. It's on my list. I just know I'm done. I'll never play Trevor Lawrence ever again. And he's dog shit. And he's bottom 25 QB for me.
I can tell you from
last year and this year.
I'm never putting my neck on the line for him ever again, though. Like, I did it. I mean, ad nauseum last year, was just a big supporter. And I mean, he had all the intangibles, has all the intangibles when he was coming out of college. But like watching him play against Buffalo the other night, I literally had to turn the ball game off because at one point, I think it was like a 3rd and 4 or something like that. And he ran for it and he ran for 3, but he looked like he was running in sand. He literally looked, and he has total running ability if he wants to, but he was out there running like fucking Gumby. That's what he looked like to me. Like he was running like Gumby. And I'm like, what are you doing? You are 6'5" or 6'6", however tall he is, 6'4" to 6'6", something, whatever it is. And he's like 240 or something like that. He's not much smaller than what Cam Newton was at prime Cam Newton. And dude can't even, like, he was making an ass out of himself running. It just looked stupid. And I was just like, you're killing me. And I had my neck chopped off by him way too many times. And it's just bad at this point. I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's Doug Peterson. I mean, was Urban Meyer the problem before?
I think it's him. I said it last year, said it this year. We tried him in like week 2, and I was like, all right, same T-Law. We're not playing him ever again in DFS, and if he so happens to pop off, we just missed that one. It's in a blue moon lifetime that he does that.
I mean,
I like him in this game.
Get in here, Brad, and defend your guy. I mean, I don't know what to do. I'm done defending him.
I don't think he can.
I'll put on the defense cap and just say that there are a bunch of players that have been out, sort of moving through. There is sort of a new concept to try to put the ball a little bit on the run game, so it takes away from his opportunities to kind of throw the ball a little bit. I suspect in this game, though, that they will attempt to try to air it out. While I may not, from a fantasy perspective, like Trevor Lawrence tomorrow, I actually do like Brian Thomas Jr. tomorrow. He had 9 targets last week. Now, I know it was a real bad game for Trevor Lawrence, but if you just see that type of target share continually to happen, I see him actually having a pretty good game here tomorrow against that Texans defense that did let up some yardage against the Vikings last week. So, again, I can't necessarily defend the last week's performances too much of Trevor Lawrence this year, but he does have the capability to turn it on in stretches. We've seen that. I think that was 2 years ago where he kind of, after having a really bad losing streak, turned it on for 7 or 8 games to get them in the playoffs. I'm not necessarily saying that. I mean, it's literally 0-3, so it's a must-have game. I'm hoping that the whole team plays as if this is a must-win game, because literally it is sort of, in a way, the season's on the line from a percentages standpoint if you want to make the playoffs. And so I hope the guys come out fiery. I do have some concerns over the scheme and sort of how they're trying to distribute the ball, where the ball's going. So
Chris Taylor sucks.
Attempts. There's a bunch of shrouds and secrecy around who's calling the plays, which is a little bit weird because, in this ego type of a game, everyone kind of wants credit, because then that could kind of get you on to the next level, i.e. like a press Taylor. But in this instance, it's a little bit of a secrecy as far as for who's calling the plays. But I just hope that, again, they're able to scheme it up. But again, I do like Brian Thomas Jr. in this matchup. I just think that it just opens up the if this game gets away, which it could, it still opens up potentially maybe even a garbage touchdown. They got to get him the ball. No Evan Ingram, they got to get him the ball.
He's low owned too. He's like 2% owned.
And so, I mean,
I've been pretty good with my sleeper picks. Marvin Harrison Jr., thank you. I mean, I think this might be a game too.
I mean, the injury report, it looks like Eric Armstead didn't practice on Friday. Was that, maybe it was probably a veteran day. Yeah. Tank was limited, but he's not carrying a tag. Gabe Davis, Gabe Davis is questionable with the shoulder. Evan Ingram is out with that hammy one more week. Jerrion Jones and Devin Lloyd, a corner and your linebacker, both questionable. Foye Olakun, the other linebacker, is out with a foot. And then Darnell Savage, I know he didn't play last week, so but he was limited in practice with a quad. And then for us, Tank's out with a chest. It was a chest injury. Who that's just been that's been the bane of my existence this year. I thought Tank was going to be it, but I don't know. I don't know if he's never been the same. He's not been the same after that leg. So I don't know if it's been that or if it's just that Stephon Diggs there, and that's a problem. And Bobby's just not scheming Tank up like he was, or what. We just haven't had a chance to get him going. Our defensive tackle Foley Fatu Kasi is questionable with the shoulder. Joe Mixon is questionable with the ankle. He was limited in practice on Friday, but he was kind of going. So that's one that everybody needs to keep their eye on tomorrow is Joe Mixon. If he's in, it's a great play. If he's not, then everybody's going to go back to the damn well with old fucking Cam Akers again. And this might be the game. This might be the game that he actually shows up.
Better matchup. Everybody was hot on him and playing solid ass defense. Like, make no sense.
And then Jimmy Ward, our one of our starting safeties, is out with a groin injury. So,
Akers is high on, so they probably assuming that he's out.
Yeah.
That Joe Mixon's out.
Yeah, the last I read about him earlier today, they said he looked questionable, but I think he's gonna be like a pure game time decision because there's no Dame Pierce, so just a pure game time decision. I think that's just something you need to pay attention to. And then if he does play and everybody's still high on Cam Akers, Joe Mixon might steal it. We've seen this before in other games where the starter has been hurt. Everybody gets on the backup thinking that the backup's going to take all of the play. And then we see that the starter actually plays and does all the work and then gets all the points. But every time you seem to turn the TV on, Cam Akers is in the game. But that's like, if you're not here watching this in particular game and you're watching like Red Zone or something and they're driving, Cam Akers might be on the field, but Joe Mixon's going to come in and get the stuff down at the goal line if his ankle is well enough to do that kind of stuff. So this could be one of those games where both of those guys either wash or Joe Mixon gets all the points and Cam Akers gets all the ownership, if that makes any sense. You know what I'm talking about, Phil?
Yep.
Oh, I do. Because people don't change their ownership once they lock in their lineups, and then Mixon comes out and eats, and everybody's stuck with Akers.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, like maybe like Javonte Williams and Jameel McLaughlin a couple years ago, or something like, or we've seen it maybe with the Ravens, kind of like Gus Edwards and Justice Hill or Keaton Mitchell, whatever. We've seen this script before where the guys number one's ridden Q tag and then the backup gets all the ownership, and then the number one is who you should have been on in the first place and just left it there. So I don't know. I'm not playing any Trevor Lawrence tomorrow, but the simple fact of the matter is our defense looked like shit against Sam Darnold, and that's what scares me.
Yeah, but he's been fucking.
He's been burning it up. Yeah.
He's been hot all season. I don't think that's anything against Shell. That's why I said he's not going to catch me playing Trevor Lawrence again. I'm probably not even going to be going to the receivers, and that's probably going to screw me because there's been times where like Kirk was in the nuts, or maybe this year B. Thomas, but I'm just going to miss it. You're gonna have to win it for me to be like, damn, all right, maybe I'll try it again. But until then, I'm completely fine fading everybody on the Jaguars for the rest of the season. Every game. I think they're just like spiraling. They're just like going down. They're not getting better. You got T-Law saying, we just suck. You suck. It's you, bro. Like, Last year, this year, every year you are overthrowing people, underthrowing people. You're sitting blind in the fucking pocket, like you have no awareness. Like came to Florida and got too comfortable in the nice, pretty weather and the bitches walking around and forgot how to play football.
Trevor, they changed it to Trevor Bank. Well, the bank needs to open up now. $270 million. Your ass needs to open the bank. Like, show me the money. Like, come on, dude. Like, it's not even been like, oh, well, he's had a slow decline. No, it's been like, bro, you were supposed to be a top 5 quarterback, and now you aren't even top 16.
I called it. Sorry, Brian.
All good, man. That's all good. We just gotta hope, as a Jags fan, Jags Nation, we just gotta hope that they can somehow put it all together. There are some good pieces there, from a personnel perspective, both on the offense and the defense. I don't know if they can somehow find a way to scheme it up the right way. Maybe start out fast. I think that might help the offense. They seem to work a little bit better in sort of the up tempo style offense where it's not as slow. I think maybe they go more to that tomorrow. There's little hints of sort of a new scheme coming out a little bit different than what they've showed before. So from a Jags fan, 0-3, you got to throw up a Hail Mary and just hope for the best that they come out strong tomorrow.
I can't say shit though. Like, I literally had CJ Stroud and he was out here looking like he didn't know what the hell he was doing last week. So I'm gonna I'll go up there and confess that we looked like shit. We should literally be 3-0. We shouldn't be 2-1. We shouldn't have looked like shit in week 1. We shouldn't have looked like shit last week. And this is the thing. I don't know.
I think that Brian Flores defense, though, Cody, has just got a couple of teams, and it's almost new a little bit. And I think he's just throwing a little bit of a wrench at teams that they haven't seen before. I think they're saying he's blitzing more than any other defense out there. And it's just causing problems towards a CJ Stroud or any sort of quarterback at that level. When you're
half their defense came from us anyway. Like, half of their defense was on our team last season. So Cashman and Grenard, both of them were over there, or were the two like captains on the defense last season. So they know the offense, and then of course all the penalties and shit, like 4 straight penalties in a row. And now Laramie Tunsil's out here making excuses saying, oh, they're making an example of us. Dude, just shut the hell up and play football, dude. Like, obviously the refs, if they're trying to make an example, okay. If gambling is seeping in and they're throwing games, okay. All you can do is try to win. And what y'all were doing was being dumb. And if that shit happens, the Jags are not terrible. They're not bad. You make mistakes and that shit will blow up in your face quick.
But there are some kind of key injuries. We lost our best linebacker, plantar fasciitis, in the foot there, and I think that could lend towards some issues. This was sort of the coming out game last year for CJ Stroud, where there were just guys running wide open against when the Jags and the Texans played last year. So I'm starting to wonder if, from that perspective, I think that's what Vegas is taking into consideration with that point total there. Plus, they gave it 47, I think, last on Monday night against the Buffalo Bills. So that's why it's probably trending up a little bit higher. And I think they also see a better performance out of Trevor Lawrence.
Like I said, I see 44 and a half here, and I've seen it 45 on ESPN Bet. So
I like that over.
It's a 1:00 game, and it's. I feel like it's one of those games that could carry the 1:00 window. It is, obviously. They'll be on it. They'll be on it a lot, probably. Obviously, there'll be a lot on that New York game just because it's the Jets and the media loves the Jets, Aaron Rodgers. But I don't know. I like our receivers here because, Nico is 20% owned. I think it's going to be good. Stephon Diggs down here at 11% owned. I feel like that CJ just gets time. They're gonna eat. So I feel like that, like you just said, this could be one of those where we just he just gets his head back and slices and dices, you know. So it could be that type game. I don't know, but 25 and a quarter. That's almost 26 points. So
I think I'll get 30.
It's a six point swing. I think it's closer than that. Just because of we usually play, but I think it plays higher than what they're giving it. So I don't know.
No faith.
What?
No faith.
No faith?
No faith in your team.
No faith in my team?
Yeah, you're trolling. No way they make a game, man.
Nah, man. I'm saying it plays closer than that because it's just a thing. Like we always seem to do this shit. Like anytime we're good, we always seem to fall into a trap game with one of the division rivals, whether it's the Colts pulling us at the ankles, trying to pull us down and drown, or it's the Jaguars. And it's always when they're bad. It's not when they're good, it's when they're bad. And this could be that one if we don't get our head out our ass. So hopefully we do, and we show up and play like we're supposed to. It's at home, so that's a good thing. Yeah. So, I mean, that's what I said. I think it plays higher than that, than 44 and a half. I think it definitely
over, but I think it's because of y'all.
So, but we can move to the next game. This one, it's not nice looking. I mean, the numbers aren't super high.
Yeah, I can't believe that's the one you chose. All right. I disagreed with their point total on this completely, but it could be over in this one. I just think that the defenses and their snap counts and shit are just too low. Slow ass game. That's just me.
Everybody sees this as because Jordan Love is coming back. Yeah, and he's gonna be active. It's not even saying that he's actually gonna play, but I saw they said he's gonna be active. And of course, anytime that Green Bay is good, everybody loves Green Bay. Jordan Addison is back. The only person that's out for the Vikings is Ivan Pace again. Jair Alexander is questionable with a quad injury. Jordan Love he's questionable, but I think he's going to be active. And then
Alexander is out. JJ is going to eat.
I think that, and then especially now that Jordan Addison is back, like that's going to help because they're going to have to rotate the coverage. So I think that I think Justin Jefferson, I mean, he's like 5% owned. He's not even close to the highest. Like he's way down. Justin Jefferson, he's 5% owned.
Oh.
Jeez.
Maybe they see this as being more of a running game. I could kind of see that as well with a quarterback coming off of an injury like he has. I could see them definitely going a little bit more run heavy than they would have probably a week or so before the injury. And so because of that, I agree with Phil here. I wonder if this 44, if they're going to make it. I kind of see maybe 37, 2017, something along those lines. I wonder if Sam Darnold might have a little bit of a difficulty against that Packers defense, even without a Jair Alexander. I think that defense might give him a little bit of trouble with Rashawn Gary on the other side. And so again, this matchup is a little bit high again for my liking.
I agree.
The Aaron Jones Bowl, man.
And Vikings are 25th for snap count, so they snap. I think it was like 66 snaps a game, which is very low. So, they're another one of those clock burners. And like he said, it's probably might be run heavy. The only way I see this going over the 44 is with defensive touchdowns, like a pick six, fumble, or just like a sack, fumble, recovery in the red zone, and they're already there. Like I could see that happening, but Jordan Love coming back from an injury against his defense. No, I don't see that.
I don't like it either. But I mean, of course, he's coming back because they need this to stay level with try to get one over on the Vikings, because for the division race. So I mean, they're 2-1 and the Vikings are 3-1. So
Vikings looking sharp on all sides of the ball, but Justin Jefferson super low owned. If Jair Alexander is out, I might just lock him in, even if I don't think it's a high scoring game. He's gonna eat.
I mean, and their Josh Jacobs is really low owned too. I mean, obviously because their run defense, obviously. So I would be somebody that I would like to stay away from due to what they've done. Obviously, that run defense is done, even though they're going to give him like 577 totes probably, because that's just what they're going to do, especially like y'all just said. But I think Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison is back, and he is coming off an injury, but he's 1% owned. He's
had some games in the past with really a lot of boom potential. A couple games, I believe he had 2 touchdowns. I believe last year. In a couple games, if the script kind of goes where they try to take Justin Jefferson completely out the game, this looks like a friendly matchup that he may be able to, from a daily fantasy and potentially even from a season long perspective. Definitely in the 12 to 14 man leagues, you probably definitely grabbed him. I would say even go ahead and insert him into a lineup from a flex position, just because the game flow may get there. I could see potentially, 5, 6 receptions, maybe 60, 70 yards. Maybe not walk away with an awesome performance, but definitely double digits.
He's had 10 catches for 110 yards and 1 touchdown in 2 games last season against the Packers. So in game 1, he had 7 receptions on 8 targets for 82 yards and a touchdown. And then the second game that they played, he had 3 receptions on 5 targets for 28 yards. So obviously they didn't have a very serviceable quarter. That was Kirk. The first game that they played, I believe, they had Kirk Cousins. And then the second one was in December when they really didn't have a quarterback. So not saying Sam Darnold is Kirk Cousins by any stretch of the imagination, but he's better than Josh Dobbs and Nick Mullins. Let's just be real. Okay. At this point, and he's shown that the last few weeks. So I think he's probably worth a flyer if you think the game's going to get to this 44. And for some reason, because this is in Green Bay, that Packers just kind of run out in front by some kind of fluky dookie shit. But I think it's going to be getting back to Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson. But Justin Jefferson at 5% owned, I don't believe you're going to see that again that low.
Yeah, definitely not.
I'm sure that'll climb. As people look at the matchup, they're probably waiting to see. They see Jair Alexander. And so I think that's with the 5%. But if he goes out and he is out, but even with the quad, I don't know if they want to match up a guy with a quad issue, even with Jair Alexander's ability, which is awesome. He's just a great top 10 cornerback in the league. But I don't think you want him against Justin Jefferson with a quad issue.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Justin Jefferson's one of the best receivers off the line. And you're pushing off with a quad. And if he gets behind you, you got to push on that quad to get caught up.
They got Green Bay favored in this game. I have got to be missing something, dude.
I like Vikings tomorrow. I like Vikings.
They're giving them 3 points. They're giving them 3 points for the home field advantage. Jordan Love gives them 3 points. A hurt Jordan Love.
Yeah, no. With a hurt Jair, like they're saying.
I don't like that either.
I don't either. I'm like missing something, or I'm just gonna go crazy betting on it, and we'll see what happens. But right now, that's looking like a lock.
Yeah.
Give me Minnesota in this one, and Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen a lot of questions, people trying to see if they want to get rid of Aaron Jones. So this will be your make or break decision if Aaron Jones is worth keeping. And then I've seen a lot of people asking questions about Josh Jacobs too. So if Josh Jacobs comes out and just for some reason crams it down this Vikings run defense, who's bottled up running backs for the last 3 weeks, if he does that for some reason, then you'll know that it's time to keep Josh Jacobs. Like that should just be the end of it. And then if not, maybe it's time to start looking to see if you can get rid of him and upgrade somewhere else. So, but you want to go to the next one?
Yes, sir.
The Andy Dalton Bowl.
There it is.
The Andy Dalton Bowl.
He looks sharp. But that's I mean, before you even get into it, Deontay Johnson's the highest wide receiver on the slate.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll tell you, I won't be playing him. He'll be in my cash lines, but I won't be playing him at all in GPP. I'd rather play Jamar Chase.
So injuries.
Are there cornerbacks out for the Bengals? I'm taking in.
Okay, so no. The John Anthony, one of their safeties, is just limited in practice for the illness. Trent Brown, that's the biggest injury they have. Their tackle, Trent Brown. He's out. BJ Hill, defensive tackle, he is doubtful with a hamstring. Tanner Hudson, the backup tight end, third string tight end, whatever he is, questionable. And Sheldon Rankins is also out with a hamstring. I think I'm pounding the like button on a fucking Panthers running back here because there's both of the defensive tackles for the Bengals are out.
And he had lots of volume last week, dude.
And then, okay, here we go. For the Panthers, Robert Hunt, their guard, is questionable with a hip injury. He was limited at practice. DJ, here you go. He was questionable with a groin injury. I am absolutely not putting him in GPP just with that knowledge. And he's that high owned? Nope.
Yeah, DJ? Yeah, highest
nope.
Yeah, long shot, too.
And then
He's out, right? I think that's why he's getting all the fucking
because Thielen got hurt.
Yeah, that's why.
Mingo might be some good leverage, boy. Get some Mingo in there.
Leggett. Him or Leggett, yeah.
Yeah, I think I might have picked up Mingo in the 14-man league. In this matchup, I'm actually gonna say Joe Burrow tomorrow heavy. I think this might be 4 or 5 for him tomorrow. I think this man's pissed off. He threw for 300 yards last week.
And still didn't win.
And still didn't win. And with Trent Brown out, I think he's just going to say, put it on my back tomorrow against this Panthers team because we need a W. I know you could go to other places, but I see 4 or 5 tomorrow. And maybe it's me just being a little biased because he's in my fantasy league, but I honestly just see this matchup just sets up friendly towards that. Seems like Vegas seems that they see a lot of points here as well, and sort of how you make up that total. I actually think that the Bengals defense might give a little bit more problems towards Andy Dalton tomorrow than what he faced last week, and sort of the scheme perspective. And
the defense is better.
Nostalgic a little bit because he's playing against the team that drafted him. Sometimes that kind of gets into
and the guy that had the guy that they drafted that when he got shipped out of town.
Yeah. And so, I mean, you can, those games could go any other way. But again, I just like Joe Burrow here tomorrow. I like the receivers matchups with Higgins now with Jamar Chase. They're kind of full steam ahead. I know you said Trent Brown, but Burrow's used to sort of having to kind of scramble a little bit, move around a little bit with sort of subpar offensive line play and still manage to put together really good performances. I think he may put the cape on tomorrow.
I mean, Jamar Chase is 10% owned.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead.
T Higgins is 5% owned. And then y'all want something else to even know? I don't give a shit what y'all say about T Higgins. Osivas is down here at 3% owned, and he still ate last week with Higgins on the field. He's coming out of slot. He's coming out of slot.
Yeah. I agree. That could be a little sleeper pick, maybe a little.
All these plays, they're good leverage. against the field, and they're solid. People are sleeping on Burrow when Brad's right. This might be a 405 game.
What's up, big body? We will answer your question once we get through the slate of games. We got one more left after this, but I promise we'll get to it. So just hang out with us. If you got more questions, just drop them in the chat and we'll get to them too.
Yep.
We appreciate it.
And then Chuba's going to be kind of high owned, but I do like that play as well.
He is high owned. I mean, I would love for this week to be the week that they get Jonathan Brooks back, but of course we don't get that. We don't get that until maybe next week at the earliest. But somebody that intrigues me here, but everybody sees it too, is Mike Gesicki, because he's another but I just feel
last week and he didn't do enough for me. I think
it's targets is what that's the thing.
I like the other tight end a little bit more. Eric, I think it's Eric.
Yeah.
Eric All.
He's got a couple more targets. He's a little bit more shifty. I like his route running a little bit more. Actually, than Gesicki. He's a little bit too upright, I guess is the way I always like to phrase it, as far as for running his routes, which doesn't allow you to necessarily get in and out of breaks as fast.
I mean, but the first 2 weeks, Mike Gesicki led the team in targets. That was the thing. That was the reason why. All kind of started creeping in at the end of week 2 and then did a little bit more last week. But I'm still
it's just too much
sticking to my guns. Andre Osivas, 7 targets last week for 5 receptions, 52 yards, and a touchdown. Even with Higgins on the field.
Can't forget about Moss either.
Just not a big fan of that stupid one. I have to run him. I have to run Chase Brown. I don't have a choice. But that's the thing. Chase Brown started cutting into it a little bit more last week too. So he got more involved than he has been. And we thought he was going to be that guy from the beginning, but he had 7 attempts for 62 yards and 2 receptions on 3 targets for 7 yards. But I think that was because they were down.
He's on the field. Zach Moss is on the field a lot more than Chase Brown.
Yeah.
It's more targets than him and more rushing. This could be a good game for him. Didn't we just see the Bengals struggle in the red zone? It could be a good time to get him going.
You talking about Moss?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously the Panthers are not the greatest against the run. So we've seen that.
28 against the position. Terrible. It's a good way to expose Carolina. Tight end too. They're 28th against the tight end, so it could be a Gesicki or Eric All type game.
Oh my God! You telling me that the Bengals defense is cheap? Is 1%, and the Panthers defense is owned. I don't care if there's no defensive tackles there or not. It literally was last week. Could have been a fluke. I mean, we saw.
That's the thing.
Was it really just
start getting that film? Things change. Once the film starts to come in and the defense can scheme a little bit better, see what the tendencies are. It's a little bit more difficult to be as on point.
Bengals are them and the Saints. They're lowest on defenses. It's crazy. The Saints' defense has been solid all year. Even when we lost the Eagles, we locked them down pretty much the entire game. There was no scoring until the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
From a powerful offense. That's screaming Millie winning defense right there. Too solid at the bottom, low.
And kind of like what Brad was saying, that nostalgia field, that kind of thing. Andy Dalton might get out there and see. He might have PTSD flashbacks and start throwing it to Bengals players. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm hoping for. If you got the Bengals defense in there, I'm supposed to be I'm throwing it to the wrong cat. Literally the wrong cat.
Through interceptions, and we've seen him perform poorly. So I don't think that's against us. My man had one star game, and everybody's like, I'm locking in Andy Dalton, and I think we're seeing it the right way. Bengals defense.
I mean, I put Andy Dalton in my waiver wire column just because he was 1% owned across all fantasy leagues, and if it was somebody you need a streamer, he's worth the flyer especially if you're in a hurting position anyway. I mean, can't get especially if you're like 0-3 and you're having to start somebody like a Caleb Williams or a Trevor Lawrence, somebody that's really not done much for you, and you saw what Andy Dalton did. Just throw it at the wall and see if it sticks, and if it don't, okay, just ship him right back out next week. Take the L, and you got 14 more weeks to try to, or 13, depending on what your schedule is, to try to win. So
that's the solid difference between season long and DFS. We can dodge them this week, but if your season long is shit, you should pick him up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can bob and weave a little bit. I mean, what Trevor Lawrence and Andy Dalton right now are both like 3.9% owned and 3.5% owned in DFS. So nobody really doesn't. And it's actually they have different. I mean, decent matchups against the defense this week too. Like 25th, the Texans defense against quarterback, and the Bengals defense like 21st. I mean, I
think there's a lot of good spots at quarterback this week, and that's because everybody's playing Daniels and Murray, dude. So literally any of the other quarterbacks are leveraged.
Yeah. I mean, they just see the run-in potential. So, but yeah, it is 4.5 to the Bengals.
Give me Bengals in the point.
Yeah, I like that too. I think the Bengals can't take another. They can't take another L, especially to the Panthers. I think that like you said, Burrow's playing for his pride at this point. So, and Zach Taylor might be paying for his job. So, but yeah, kind of what Phil just alluded to, this game right here, the Cliff Kingsbury Bowl. So much like 7 degrees of separation on these last two games. Actually, it's kind of actually for the last three, you've had something that's connected them together, a player or a coach. 49.
Yeah,
and that's because they're giving this is up 3.5 points to the Cardinals.
Looks good on paper, that's for sure.
It does look great on paper,
but for DFS purposes, to be honest, I think on my double ups and my head to heads, I'm gonna play Kyler Murray. Give me the veteran, that I've seen get it done. A little less owned than Jalen Daniels, and then not too. I really want to just be different in this game and hope that this game's a dud and doesn't succeed. And as long as I hit some other players, I should be well ahead in the money if this game doesn't hit right, because everybody's so high owned from this game.
Somebody, I mean, I know he's mid range ownership. It was funny though. I felt like that they should be higher actually with the point totals, like James Conner and B-Rob. But B-Rob he's higher owned right now because no Austin Eckler. So I mean he's hurt. So
and he gets a lot of work. So
yeah, and so for Washington, Jamison Crowder out with a calf. He doesn't really matter. Austin Eckler out with a concussion. Cleveland Farrell, defensive end, out with a knee injury. And then on Cardinal side, Isaiah Adams, one of their guards, questionable with a thumb. Kelvin Beachum with their tackle, questionable with a hamstring. And Trey McBride out with a concussion. Okay, so there's your thing. And then one of their defensive tackles, Kairos Tonga, is out with a knee. So there it is. That's
people are going to default to Elijah Higgins, but I'm not going to. He's not Trey McBride. And the Redskins are pretty solid against the tight end. It says they're 6th against the position. So
yeah, like I said, they did what they did last week to Mike Gesicki, who was eating in targets for the first 2 weeks. So, and this is Elijah Higgins again. Of course, he's not Trey McBride. So the running backs, like I said, I like the running backs here. And if I'm
give me Connor to give me leverage off of both those quarterbacks. I like that.
And of course, that guy, I'm gonna mention him one more time for the Birds. Of course, if you got Marvin Harrison, don't be afraid to play him in like season long fantasy. I'm playing him on two teams, so smash that button. But Greg Dortch, I gotta call it one more time. He's gonna have a game, and this could be that game, especially without Trey McBride.
The target's got to go somewhere. I
like Terry McLaurin tomorrow. He just came off of a 100-yard performance, I believe, also a touchdown, 21 fantasy points. I think he's starting to find that chemistry with Daniels. If this game is going to go up to the 49-point total, I just see him having to have a big game. I just don't think they can get enough points just running the ball tomorrow. They have to air it out in order to be able to kind of keep up with a high-powered offense on the other side. So, again, I like Scary Terry here. I know the first 2 weeks he was a little non-existent, but this just feels like a really good matchup for him to continue on that last game success.
Yeah, he's pretty high owned. I think a lot of people see that, or they like that performance last week. So,
I mean, if you're trying to get leverage off of him, Noah Brown is where you need to go.
Yeah, or just get leverage off the quarterbacks and the passing altogether, and go to the running back. Because usually if the quarterbacks in a game like this with this type of on-paper matchup aren't performing, it's because the running backs are. And they're, I think they're lower. I have to check.
And then, I mean, you trying to get like 150 max potential and trying to get to another wide receiver. Just look at baby McCaffrey down here at 1% owned. I mean, he's silly for the Millie type shit if you're trying to get like that crazy, because if this game gets to 49 and they are boxing out McLaurin and Noah Brown, McCaffrey, he did do decent against the Bengals the other night. So it's just that he's that very get different, silly for the Millie type player in this game, I think. Can't spell McCaffrey.
Yeah, any of the like backup wide receivers, or not necessarily backup, but not their one or two, is always some good leverage as well. Like you mentioned, Dortch, that's good leverage. Michael Wilson would be good leverage. Noah Brown, you mentioned, is good leverage.
What about what do you think about Zach Ertz? I like them in fan for season long for sure, because he just gets targets, but he just seems to be that eat up targets when they need it kind of thing.
I'm trying to see his ownership. Yeah, he's not that high on. I mean, he's 6th highest owned, but there's not a lot of ownership going any one way at tight end this week. So Arizona's 9th against the position. Probably good leverage.
Who did they play last week? Oh, Parkin. They played the Rams last week, right? Was it the Rams last week?
I'm pretty good at it. I don't think it was the Rams.
No, it wasn't the Rams. They Lions last week, and Sam Laporta was hurt, and that was when Sam Laporta and Trey McBride went out in the same game. But a week before that was the Rams. But they've been popping into these 4 straight or at least 3 straight weeks now. So we've seen them, and it seems to be one of those things. But I'm actually going to take the Commandos tomorrow. Commandos. I think Jaden Daniels, of course, that's my bias. I think Jaden Daniels just is coming to his own. I think he could be CJ Stroud of this year, like that type, just everybody thought he was going to be, because he runs too much and this kind of stuff. I think he's figuring out the game. So I got the Terry McLaurin and Jaden Daniels stack going on in season long tomorrow. So
I'll be the different. I'll go Arizona.
I'm gonna go Commanders as well here. Ride the Jaden Daniels train. I really like what he's doing, not just from the running perspective, but just working through his progressions. And from a rookie, it's really hard to kind of come into the league and kind of even do the things he's done so far. So really happy for his success and sort of the build up of the organization, setting things up around them to be successful.
Yeah, I think Connor's gonna take over this game, so give me Arizona.
Yeah, I mean he always has one of those games where he does just kind of just pour it on. This could be a very well James Conner and Brian Robinson type game tomorrow. Very much. Or we could be all wrong and these two dudes just run the whole time.
They pop off, but they're chalk. So it's not that I don't think that's a possibility.
These are definitely cash play potential guys for sure.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna play Murray in all my cash lineups.
So yeah, definitely. Did you I know Phil, you said when we went to the Minnesota and Green Bay game, I was like, you went to this game. What was there another game that out of this?
There was one other. It's a lower total than that, but I don't know, man. I just think it could play over, and that was Philly at Tampa Bay.
Oh, okay.
I just, I think that there's potential there to be a high-scoring game with a lot of shootout potential. I know A.J. Brown is out.
Devontae Smith is too.
Is he? Okay, I was going to say, I don't know if Devontae Smith is out, but it's probably a lot of reason why the game isn't getting a lot of focus, like who are the Eagles going to throw to, this type of thing. But
fucking Saquon Barkley is who they're going to throw to.
There you go. Paris Campbell, Dallas Goedert, and then on the Tampa Bay side, it's like everybody forgot, that they've been scoring points. they've been scoring them right next to everybody. Godwin, Evans, Baker. It's probably a pretty solid stack.
I mean, Saquon Barkley is down here at 9% owned. Like Aaron Jones, Zach Moss, Alvin Kamara, Brian Robinson, James Conner, Cam Akers are all way above him. And
is
literally
the playing tomorrow for the Bucks. Is that why they see Saquon not doing much?
Lane Johnson has a concussion.
Saquon.
So AJ's still questionable, but I think he doesn't play. Lane Johnson is questionable with a concussion and was limited in practice. Devontae Smith is out. And then for the Bucks, Luke Gedke, their tackle, is questionable with a concussion. So Bucky Irving, questionable with a hamstring. Cameron Johnson, questionable with an ankle. Kalijah Cansey, questionable.
What's Rashad White's injury?
What'd you say?
What's Rashad White's injury?
Rashad White's not even on the list anymore.
Unless seeing him questionable.
It's not even on here.
I forgot about him too. Like he's a high volume running back that can easily get you $1 million on DraftKings.
He's done it before.
He could be in that game. So I was the only other one that I was looking at. It didn't have a high.
Illness. He's questionable due to an illness, is what it is, because it's not even on the NFL.com. I just saw that Adam Schefter said it was 4 hours ago. Questionable with the illness.
Wonder what it is, because I get sick sometimes, and I feel like I'm dying. So if he's sick, yeah, it might not be a good game out of him. Out of breath, easy, just body's aching.
Yeah, Vita Vea is still questionable, Brad, and so is Kalijah Cansey. The other defensive tackle is out with a calf. So I don't understand why anybody would not need Saquon Barkley here.
I would say even
they don't know those things, man. They just know
Barkley button tomorrow.
And Antoine Winfield, by the way, is out too.
It should work out. that's a lot of the inside of that defense that's going to be gone tomorrow. That's exactly where the Eagles like to run the ball in that inside zone scheme.
The middle. Yeah, the Saints are pretty stout against the run the last few years, and he was averaging like 8 to 9 yards a carry up the middle on us. So I wouldn't expect anything different here. We got some questions over here from Big Body, War Eagle, Iron Me.
All right, let's do this. Yeah. Let's get to them real quick. Let's see what they got. Okay, so Big Body says, who should I start in my flex? DJ Moore, Garrett Wilson, Josh Jacobs, Zay, or Jaden Reed?
DJ Moore. That's my quick response.
I like Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, it's PPR. That's probably what we should know. I like DJ Moore if it's PPR.
Wilson's due for a blow-up game. Give me G. Wilson. Rodgers, they figure it out tomorrow, get something popping tomorrow. I'm going to go with Garrett Wilson here. I like also, I think Josh Jacobs also might get a lot of touches tomorrow in that Packers backfield with the quarterback that's coming off of an injury. So kind of watch that one. I kind of say juggle between those two. Tomorrow, you do have
what they're saying. Why he's saying about, I think where Garrett Wilson here is the scary part is he's going to draw Patrick Surtain, who hasn't let anybody do shit against him this season so far. That's the thing, and I like Garrett Wilson here too. But the targets to DJ Moore right now are hard to pass up.
If it's like there's PPR, give me DJ Moore.
I think I'm gonna swing towards DJ Moore too, just for the simple fact of the matter, because of Patrick Surtain. With that one, just for tomorrow, because no one's really done much against him, and so I think I like DJ here too, because he's had like 10 targets for like the last 3 weeks, and Caleb Williams got to throw the ball somewhere, and why not throw it to the number one on your team? Only other person who's really throwing to is Cole Kmet. So I think I like DJ here. War Eagle, are you an Auburn fan, by the way? Speaking of Georgia and Bama kick off in 2 minutes.
They're actually already playing right now. It's 21.
Who you got winning?
Oh, it already did?
It was
at 6:30? Did it kick off at 6:30?
7:30 kick.
Oh, 7:30. It's 21-0 Alabama. Oh, shit.
Wow. Yeah. One of them nights, huh? But
two.
I like Marvin Harrison Jr. tomorrow. I think he's gonna get a good deal of healthy target share. Definitely of this list. Wait, is that Tyreek Hill just a minute?
We gotta do 2 wide receivers and a
flex.
Oh, okay. Marvin, Tyreek, and I said earlier, and I'm gonna stay with it, is McLaurin. I like him tomorrow, that matchup as well.
Who does Buffalo play?
These teams are stacked.
Oh, is that from Buffalo or?
Buffalo is they're playing Sunday night, right? They play the Sunday night against Baltimore. I like Marv, Scary Terry. I don't really like Tyreek Hill, and that's hard for me to say that I'm gonna want to have to fade him. I think that the Seahawks play the
Seahawks are playing Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I know who I would take. Harrison, McLaurin, and JSN.
It's just hard to say that you need to fade Tyreek Hill. That just it hurts to say.
Chuba's not playing. It's easy to fade Tyreek Hill. And Chuba, we talked about Chuba having a monster game. Lots of volume. Both tackles for the Bengals.
Do you have any stacks that would get you extra points? If you do, like drop that in the chat too. But I think that one is that's a tough one. But the fact that Tyreek Hill didn't have but 5 targets last week makes that disgusting to me. And I don't know if Tyler Huntley's going to get him the ball. And that freaking game total is doo-doo dog shit. So 37 points against the Titans. I think this is a Devin Achane game. I just don't like. I don't like.
I just see Tyreek catching one, maybe a slant and taking it for 60 or 70. It may not be a traditional sort of, deep throw that he's used to having, but I think sort of a shorter route that sets him up.
I mean, he was probably your first round pick, and you have to throw it. I think you might have to just put him in, but I don't. JSN, and I've been riding the JSN train all season.
Much better matchup, man. That's what I'm saying. JSN or Hubbard. I think you could go either one.
I mean,
I think you just match Tyreek here. I think that's a no-brainer. It's not even a high over-under. Tua is not playing.
2 targets. JSN had 2 targets in week 1, 16 targets in week 2, and 3 targets last week against Miami.
Go Hubbard. Go Hubbard.
Someone in my league dropped Joe Mixon because they're down bad for players. Okay. I have Moss. I have Moss, Monty, Achane, and Connors, though.
Oh, my.
And Braylon Allen. Out of those RBs, should I bench this week of Moss, Monty, Achane, and Connors?
What's the question? Oh,
also, which
also Achane tomorrow.
I think it came in pieces.
Earlier, I think Connor has a nice matchup tomorrow.
Is this PPR? If it's not, Monty might be a good play. It's got a pretty high over/under. Non-PPR. No. Yeah, Monty. Monty and Connor.
Yeah, you want those touchdowns.
Yeah, you want the touchdowns in those standard leagues.
Monty and Connor's my go-to for that.
Because I'm afraid that Moss might not get into the end zone. I think that Monty has full-on potential to get into the end zone. He's done it multiple times.
Connors definitely has the potential.
Sure. Yeah. I think that you have to smash that. I mean, Monty has a touchdown in every game this season. And he's had 17, 11, and 23 attempts.
Yeah, I think he did last season too. Like a few games where he had more than one.
So I think you got to go. I think you got to go. Which of those running backs should I bench this week? So you can run 2 running backs and a flex running back. If we can run 3 of those, I'm going Monty, Achane, and Connors. I bench Moss and Braylon Allen. So if I'm running 3 of them, if I'm running 2, I'm going Monty and Connors.
War Eagle, I think you could use JSN or Chuba, but I think the other 2 are just lock-ins, Marvin McLaurin, and then it could be JSN or Chuba Hubbard.
McLaurin, Scary Terry.
Yeah, I like McLaurin here as well tomorrow.
Feels like his brain is spinning. I know he wants to say Shaheed so bad. He said it last week.
Actually, I was thinking Worthy here because I do have on my notes that I do want to have some lineups with Mahomes. So
she has Mahomes as a quarterback. By the way, I do know that.
Giving up on that. So I actually am going to try. I don't think you get Mahomes this low owned ever. So.
You might want to go for the stack if you have Mahomes. So
yeah, you have Mahomes
with a good stack.
Run them out with Worthy. That's where I was leaning, and it's off that. I know this is season long and not DFS, but it's off that chalk of McLaurin. And usually when players are chalk, they don't perform. So it's just it's like superstition in my book, I guess. So McLaurin isn't. If he's chalk, then he probably isn't performing because he's got the superstition glitch. So give me Worthy and pair him with Mahomes. You're welcome, War Eagle. Thank you for coming in and being a part and asking us questions.
Yeah, War Eagle over all these guys over here from Twitch. We don't get much Twitch love, and this is a straight Twitch love right here. So here War Eagle said, I have Jaden Daniels at quarterback, Monty Cook, and Dalton Kincaid. Okay, so and it's not PPR. So I should stack Marv, McLaurin, and then JSN, or start Marv, McLaurin, and JSN. Well, you have Jaden Daniels. You want that stack.
Yeah.
That stack potential, especially in non-PPR.
Bring back from Marv.
Yeah.
That's got an actual legit game stack right there. That's solid. You can play JSN or Chuba, I think. Either one.
Yeah, I think you're good there. I think you're good. And then Aromi, sorry, I thought that was I popped in trying to see questions here, but yes, he said don't ask about my wide receiver situation. Now you said it. Now you got to tell us what is up with your wide receiver situation. Because where it goes PPR, my bad. Yeah, get that.
You could dump a running back for a solid wide receiver.
I mean, it's in non-PPR. Aromi's in non-PPR though. It's in standard. So you want if he's got those, you can. It's basically FanDuel rules, right? Like
running back
in a certain way. Yeah. But no, that's so we appreciate y'all. Appreciate all you guys, especially y'all from Twitch, because we don't. It's we love it, and we love the conversation because that's what we're here for. You guys win, we win, so that's what we like to see.
Shoot us that anything you win, let us know.
Yeah, we have
social media platforms. We love
it. Facebook, you come in there, comment, or ask some last minute questions, updates before the game tomorrow. Some updated stuff as well.
If you put up a bunch of points in your fantasy league, you blow it out the water. Go ahead and shoot over a screenshot. Let us know. We love that. Let us see you winning. We want to see you winning both in the daily fantasy and in your season long. Try to win in both. Why not?
He's got the solid wide receivers. Last week, I know Juwan Jennings got you there if you played him.
He got the advice that we're throwing out here. Trust our sleeper picks. Trust the locks. Bring it home tomorrow.
Yeah, try to, if you're playing DFS.
Yeah, look at it. There's his wide receivers.
Yeah.
I mean, Juwan Jennings gonna kill for you, and then Tank's out, Puka's out.
That's all.
Obviously, you got to play Worthy. So
I think that's
give it time. Worthy's gonna develop.
Yeah,
give it time.
The best thing is that Puka comes back before Cup.
Yeah,
possible. That's possible. That's he'll do very well with that.
I mean, somebody that we talked about last week, Whittington. Whittington's done pretty well, especially he's projected, and I know a PPR for around 9 points, and that's for someone that's fresh off the boat. That's pretty good, and he's not even fully developed in that scheme. And like Phil said, he's just been getting more targets and learning more of the offense every week. So that's a guy that if you're looking for depth, Phil, and if it's a deeper league, don't be afraid of him, because he's had a couple targets here, a couple targets there. So for sure.
Is Deebo Samuel playing tomorrow?
No, I don't know. I can tell you.
It's questionable what I see. But my shit might not be updated. So
last I saw is calves questionable. Let's see if Adam Schefter always seems to say that kind of stuff late, because 3 hours ago, Niners wire. They usually cyber good. He's still listed as questionable.
Yeah, he's questionable. He might play tomorrow. I don't want to bring Juwan Jennings down a whole bit.
It's been Debo's weird. Like Debo seems to do that kind of, he has really good games and then he goes on a kind of disappearing streak for a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, like last week, Ayuk was just insanely overpriced.
Oh, yeah.
Overvalued.
Easy to get pass that ownership.
And then Juwan Jennings just goes out here and just blows the bottom out of it. So, and something, I mean, I know like we don't really talk about it a ton, but like you got to think for tomorrow night with the FanDuel play. I know we kind of forget about it and we kind of gloss over it, but with that tomorrow night game in FanDuel with Baltimore and Buffalo, that's a James Cook gotta be in a lineup tomorrow. I mean, he's gonna be, I would think. Let me see. Let's see.
That's the nighttime game.
Yeah.
Yep. I like Keon Coleman in that matchup a little bit more.
I mean, James Cook is 3% owned against Baltimore tomorrow.
I'll put it this way.
In FanDuel.
If Buffalo looks like they just did, Lamar Jackson's going to be the captain.
I didn't, because we always say he pays up.
Yeah, he plays. Right. My man will run 300 yards when the other team is scoring. If the other team is not scoring, my man will run 3 yards.
Right.
He don't care. But
I'm just saying, I was talking about for FanDuel purposes in the whole main slate. But if we're getting down to showdown, for sure it's captain wise. I'm just talking about like for.
Oh yeah, FanDuel's got the late game on it now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And James Cook is, like I said, just 3% owned. Obviously, Baltimore is subpar against they said number 3, but I feel like they've done worse than that against the run.
11. Number 3, I think, is against the quarterback. Yeah, number 3 against the quarterback. I'm seeing 11 against the run. But you know what's funny is that DraftKings and FanDuel have different ranks for the position, which is super weird.
Yeah, because FanDuel is saying it's 5. I'm looking right now.
Because I was looking at DraftKings, so that's why I had to readjust. Because
yes,
it's so weird. It doesn't make sense to me how they can be different.
No, you would think it'd be the same number.
Yeah. So rank against the position. No, it's not.
There's only 32 teams you could be worse than. Yeah, or 31.
No sense, but here we are.
Yeah. But for sure.
Y'all ain't got any more questions? If y'all come up with any before the game tomorrow, Facebook.
Yeah. All the links are there. So just make sure that if you got questions, just shoot them over there, and I'll put a tweet out in the morning, start and sit. If you got questions there, let us know. If you got, hey, last minute, hey, should I do this? Should I do that? DFS purposes, let us know. We'll answer them. We'll try to get to them as quickly as we can. So direct DM. If you can't find us on there, we're on TikTok, Instagram. If you got any of those instead, you let a message quick. Just send us a direct message. So, and we will get to it. All right, y'all. Well, we appreciate it. And we will see y'all later on. Peace.